Oh, Universal, how I love thee. I mean, how could I not? They have 2, soon to be 3 theme parks, a water park, and most importantly, a multitude of theme park lands, including but not limited to Harry Potter again, and Harry Potter a third time, but also areas like Jurassic Park and Marvel Superhero Island. Not to mention the 4 other brand new theme park lands opening in 2025 with Epic Universe. Yes sirree, Universal, they've definitely been on their A game recently. Well, most of the time. Yeah, even though I love a lot of what Universal has been doing recently, it's hard to ignore one of their biggest blunders ever in recent history. I hope you know what I'm talking about, because oh my, this Universal Land is just horrendous. The one and only Minions Land. No. Why does this place even exist? Strap in, because I'm gonna be extremely negative today. I'm gonna be discussing Universal's worst theme park land, Minions. So first things first, before I even discuss Minions Land, I have to address my grievances with the Minions/Despicable Me franchise, because I do not like these movies. They are awful. The first Despicable Me was good, it was serviceable. I don't know what happened with every other movie after that, or every other Illumination movie for that matter. These movies just have no substance. They're not profound like Pixar, they're not entertaining like DreamWorks. They're just background popcorn fodder. That's all they are. And yes, I am perfectly aware I am not the key demographic for Minions movies. These are obviously aimed at a specific audience. But you know what? I don't find that excuse to be valid. Because if Pixar and DreamWorks can make their movies geared towards kids and adults, why can't Illumination do the same? It just seems like a waste of potential to divert all your resources into a bad movie. But you know what? What do I know? The Minions movies are the most profitable films ever. Every film, they make $1 billion. They're like Universal's personal money printer. So if these movies keep working, then why change anything, right? Keep them as mindless, brainless slop that can be fed to an audience every 3 to 4 years. Why not? But here's the problem. If these movies are bad, how will that translate into a theme park land? Now, I know for a fact that even though these movies are awful, that doesn't necessarily mean the land will be as well. There are plenty of rides based on bad movies at Disney and Universal parks. My mind always goes to Tron. I don't like that movie. I don't know anyone who enjoys that movie. The only time I hear anyone talking about the Tron movie is when they're talking about the Tron ride. So, there's that example. I'm a firm believer that it doesn't matter how bad the movie is, as long as the execution is good. So, how do they execute Minions Land? Very poorly. This is very piss poor. It's not like the area was good and got progressively worse later on. No, it's just always been bad. It all started back in 2011 when they debuted the first Despicable Me ride, Minion Mayhem, and it was just a quick redo of an existing ride. Universal, they kinda pulled a Disney with this one. They saw the Minions movie was doing exceptionally well, so they wanted to cash out as quick as possible by just putting Minions in the park with little thought or care. And the result of that was this, a redo of the Jimmy Neutron ride. All they did was swap the film you were watching. That's all simulator revitalizations are, hitting next channel on the remote. And how was the theming for the ride? Again, pretty poor. The only theming this ride has is a scaled down Gru house at the front entrance. However, that doesn't really matter because there's a massive show building right behind it that is a complete eyesore. But don't worry, Universal has this problem covered. That's why they put some tacky posters on the side of the building. There you go, now it looks good. And if it wasn't for the complete lack of detail, the ride itself, it's literally just Subway Surfer the ride. I'm not kidding. When the original Despicable Me movie came out, they also released a game that was just a clone of Subway Surfer or Temple Run. The only difference was you played as a minion, and they put that as the opener for the ride. It looks so cheap. Granted, there's some original animation, but it's cheap Illumination animation, so who really cares? Weirdly enough, this is still one of the better simulator rides at the main Universal park, but is that really saying much? No, because when you compare it to rides like Fast and Furious and Jimmy Fallon, it's gonna win in a landslide. Unless you compare this thing to the Simpsons ride, and in that case, Simpsons will win no matter what. That ride's king. Now, if the Minions property at Universal was just this one ride and nothing else, I probably wouldn't even talk about this thing. I haven't ridden Minions Mayhem in over 10 years, because there are so many other attractions I would rather experience. And when I'm only at Universal for a limited amount of time, this ride always gets skipped. Minions Mayhem is nothing more than a cash grab attraction. Universal only built it because Despicable Me was popular, and they needed to capitalize on it quick. And I wish that over a period of 5 to 10 years, they would have gotten rid of it by now. But no, they kept the ride. And not only that, the area got so much worse. Because in 2023, they expanded on the Minions property and debuted another ride, this being called Vicious Sixth Villain Con or something. I honestly don't know the name of this thing, and I don't want to look it up. Whatever, they opened the Minions Ride Part 2. This attraction would replace the old Shrek 4D theater, and whether or not you like that Shrek show or not, at least it was funny, you got some enjoyment out of it. Minions Part 2, you don't get any joy out of this thing. This ride is just so much worse in every possible way. You know, Universal is fun, but I really wish there was an extension to the moving walkway platform. My only desire is that Universal would dedicate an entire ride to the moving walkway platform. There's nothing I love more than the moving walkway platform. How was this ever approved? It's a shoot-'em-up blaster ride that's basically a walkthrough attraction. But no, you don't walk through it because you got the moving walkway platform. I can't even believe that anyone at Universal even thought of this. There isn't even a ride vehicle. And quite frankly, I don't know what's going on during the quote-unquote ride. It's just point and shoot, and I can't even shoot the Minions, so I'm not having any fun. The Minions Ride Part 2 serves the exact same purpose as the original Despicable Me ride. It's a quick cash grab to capitalize on the Minions, and it opened a year after the last Minions movie, The Minions Rise of Gru. And you know what? It's one thing for Universal to just build a bad Minions attraction, but it's an entirely different story when they're gonna revitalize a whole area to be known as Minions Land. And I'm using the word revitalization very loosely here because they barely change anything about the area. The soundstage building for Shrek 4D, it hasn't changed. The building for the original Despicable Me ride, it's the exact same as well. The only noticeable change is the new Minion sign and the new facades for the gift shop and restaurant. That's it. Everything is pretty much the same. The stage by Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit is still there. Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit is still there. And you can still see Jimmy Fallon down the midway, along with the Mummy ride. You know how the new Universal lands, they try to fully immerse you? Like at Epic Universe, the only way to see the theme park land is by physically entering a portal into the area? Yeah, that's not the case with Minions. Not only can you see the crappy Minions theme around you, but you can also see the rest of Universal. Honestly, I shouldn't even call this a land because it's more of a strip that you bypass to get to Diagon Alley. Universal clearly didn't care about this land. Everything looks cheap, the ride is bad, the land is ugly. I still can't believe they painted one side of the Transformer building blue as a way to attempt to cover it up and keep the immersion. Obviously it didn't work, but at least they tried, I guess. Once again, Universal only built Minions Land because Minions is popular. I know I keep reiterating that statement, but it is so true and apparent. Universal, they didn't want to put any effort in this area, and I'm almost positive that their budget got cut into oblivion because most of Universal's resources were and still are going to Epic Universe, but they still could have done more with this land. Even though I personally hate the Minions, it's not like a Minions Land wouldn't work at all. Just look at the Minions Land they built in Beijing. That at least looks decent. There's a lot more buildings, more attractions. The structures actually look like they're from the movie, but does the land look more dynamic overall? I'll let you decide on that. Again, Illumination movies, they look cheap and basic, so even though Universal Beijing, they did a better job with their Minions Land, they were still pulling from the Minions playbook. So they did their best with what they had to work with. But Universal Orlando, on the other hand, nuh-uh, not even close with their Minions Land. But will Universal down the line eventually get rid of the Minions? Probably not. Again, the IP is just way too strong, so it's in Universal's best interest to keep the Minions, unfortunately. My dream would be that they would take out Minions Land, take out Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit, take out Jimmy Fallon, and also take out Transformers, I guess, and just redo everything. Make a new land that's worthy enough to be at the front of the park. Because Minions, that ain't it. And just to be clear, I'm not hating on Minions Land because it's a kids area. I understand, not everything has to be geared for an older audience. It's fine for Universal to have some kids sections. Dr. Seuss is probably one of the best looking kids lands at Universal. I just wish the Cat in the Hat ride was good. And How to Train Your Dragon appears to be even better. That is going to be the gold standard for what Universal can do with kids areas. And once that opens, it'll make Minions look even worse by comparison. Screw you, Despicable Me. You are only ever good for memes, nothing else.